Thank you for attending the session. My name is Franca Pomponio. I am with the Small Business Services of FedDev Ontario. That's short form for the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario. We will be looking at the following. I'm going to go through the slides quite quickly. It's a long presentation, and we only have half an hour. A lot of the things you can follow along on the slides and read for yourself. Also, I just want to say the most important thing that you should come away with after the presentation is to have our contact information. So we'll go through the slides and you'll see that various times. So we are a website and a call center, and I just want to make sure that everybody has that information for further questions, but also just to talk to perhaps a call agent about your specific business and situation. So the presentation overview tells you that we'll be looking at very quickly the Canadian small business landscape. I'll talk about small business services, and then we'll go into the Government of Canada business programs. FedDev Ontario, of course, is not the only government federal department that has programs and services for business. So we'll take a look at some of the more popular ones there. I'll talk about small business enterprise centers. They're with the Government of Ontario. We'll look at Startup Canada, which is a non-government organization. And then, of course, we'll have to talk a little bit about programs and services that were set up due to the pandemic for COVID-19. And then again, we'll tell you again, contact information. So small business landscape in Canada, you probably already know. It accounts for 98% of all for-profit businesses in the country. It employs 70% of private sector workers. It supplies over 40% of Canada's exports and accounts for almost 40% of the GDP. So obviously, it's a very important group. It is the the most important group for the economic landscape in Canada. Small business services, we're a division, like I said, of the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario, or FedDev Ontario, and we provide accurate and reliable information on federal and provincial government business regulations, programs, and services. Our mission is to reduce the complexity of dealing with different levels of government for small businesses, to provide a one-stop shop for those entrepreneurs, and to support good business decisions by those people and business planning. So we're a federal government program and service. So of course we're bilingual and we're free. This is what the website looks like, feddevontario.gc.ca. You'll go in and you'll land on this page. And then if you look at the top menu, after About Us Funding Opportunities, you'll see Business Services. You'll click on that and you'll get into another page, and you'll go click on Small Business Services. That's where we are. One of the, besides information and pathfinding, one of the services that we do provide is related to market research. So as you all know, market research, it's the action or activity of gathering information about consumers' needs and preferences. And you do that to understand your target market, to identify opportunities to increase sales, to identify and track competition, and to reduce decision-making risks. There are two different types of market research, as you all, again, you probably know. There's primary, that's information collected directly from the source. So that is new information, something that started from scratch. And as you all know, that's a very big endeavor. It's very time consuming, and of course it's expensive. Secondary market research, on the other hand, as you know, again, probably is data that's already compiled and published already. That primary information, that primary market research has already been done. And it's already published and it's accessible to the public. And these days it's either in print or electronic format. Of course, when you're gathering this information, it's less time consuming, it's less expensive, of course. It is less targeted and specific because you have to take information from what's already there. So if you were to go out and do primary market research with a company who specializes in that, of course, it would be time consuming and expensive, but you could tailor those questions and gather the information specifically to what you're looking for. So at SBS, short form for Small Business Services, we have a service where once you speak to us through a call center agent at our call center, our contact center, the call center agent will gather information about you and your business or your business idea. And we have subscriptions to, I guess it's their databases or their services that exist. And so we will gather, pull information from all the different resources, sources that we subscribe to that would be relevant for your business planning. So for example, we can give you some relevant demographics, a list of pertinent industry associations, a list of suppliers, a list of competitors, and some relevant sample business plans. So if businesses were putting together the business plan, and a lot of times that's where the secondary market research comes into play. If you hadn't yet put together your business plan, then we could also provide you some sample ones that you could follow that are helpful, and also some resources that exist that have templates and so on as well. So we would talk to you and then we would send that out. Of course, it's limited in what we can provide, but anything that's relevant to you that we have access to, of course, we'll give that to you. And we'll send it to you by email. Usually it takes less, but we like to give ourselves 10 business days to compile that information. And you can request that by phone. So you can go to our website, and I'll give you the website and the direct phone number as well. And you can talk to an agent and get that, as well as other information that the agent outside of the secondary market research that we do as regular business will also send you. Okay, government business financing programs. So other than ourselves, which is like a one-stop shop for federal, but also Ontario specific programs and services from government for business. The Government of Canada also has a one-stop shop portal for federal programs and services across Canada. So that's a good place also to look at. Innovation.canada.ca. That's where you would go in. That's where they will ask you who you are, what type of business, where you're located, and so on. It has like a fill-in platform. And then what happens is once you fill in all the pertinent information, they will send you back the results of what came out of that database, that what comes back should be relevant to you and or your business. That's also a good thing to do, but definitely still look at our website and definitely give us a call as well. Okay, so the bigger agency that we're part of, as I mentioned, the mandate for the agency is to strengthen Southern Ontario's capacity for innovation, economic development, and growth. Our vision is a dynamic, inclusive, and globally competitive Southern Ontario economy driven by innovation, entrepreneurship, and collaboration. So the FedDev Ontario programs that I'm talking about, the agency programs outside of small business services, they are funding programs for small, medium enterprises. And they're for businesses that have been in existence for at least 2 years. They're also for not-for-profit organizations. So the business is at least 2 years. Those are for profit. And then it's also for projects, economic projects in rural communities. We have 3 streams: scale up, new technology, global business expansion. And that's what they include. And the 3 streams are the business scale up and productivity. Those would be the for-profit businesses that we were talking about. Also, the regional innovation ecosystem. So any intermediaries, or not necessarily for-profit, but organizations that are that exist to help innovation within the Southern Ontario space. And then community economic development and diversification. Those would also include intermediaries that are specifically trying to have economic development in certain communities and to help diversify the landscape. So another, outside of FedDev, ISED, which is Innovation, Science, and Economic Development. There used to be Industry Canada not too long ago. They've had a program in existence for many decades called the Canada Small Business Financing Program that is quite popular, I guess I could say. They're for new or existing Canadian businesses. It's up to $1 million now for fixed assets. And the slide shows the conditions, the lending rate, there's a registration fee and the term, which is 10 years. This is administered through the Canadian financial institutions, so the banks. So it's a government loan, but it's administered through the I think the 5 big banks. Another very popular department and program within the federal government is the Business Development Bank of Canada. So again, they're for new or existing Canadian businesses. Long-term financing loans. So if you're starting or buying a business, if you are purchasing real estate equipment, if you are looking for mentoring or advice, they also do that. If you're embarking on construction or increasing in working capital, all of those things could be included. So again, at each slide at the bottom, we give the website. But again, once you call into our call center, these are the programs and services that we would send to you in an email. With all the pertinent information and websites and phone numbers for you to take a look at their website and see if it's a fit for you. And if so, then give them a call. The other thing with the Business Development Bank of Canada that people need to know is when you're applying for a loan, besides, of course, a good business plan that you've put together and that you're going to present to them, they want to see that you have already as well invested in your own company. So they like to see 25% of your own investment, so a down payment of 25% of what you're asking them for in the way of a loan. Another, this is not a government organization, but it is funded by the government, and it's an organization, I guess a non-government organization that helps entrepreneurs that are under the definition now of youth, which is 18 to 39. It used to be 35. I think they've put it up. So that's good. So Canadian entrepreneurs aged from 18 to 39, newcomers living in Canada less than 60 months from the application processing date are also eligible. And there's startup loans up to $15,000, but then you can get an additional, if you're eligible, an additional $30,000 from the BDC. They do that as kind of a joint program. and then an additional 10,000 for what they call alumni. So if you've gone through their process 3 to 5 years later, you can still apply for another 10,000. They also provide, it's a great organization. They provide a lot of business planning support and as well mentorship, which is very important. Now we're looking at the federal program of the Community Futures corporations throughout Ontario. So this is a federal program, but of course we're looking specifically at Ontario because that's what we focus on regionally is the province. So again, this is for new and existing businesses in rural Ontario. So if you are situated in the rural areas, this would be the organizations that you would go to for in person, because of course we are a website with a lot of information, and you can call us anytime as well, but we don't have the walk-in services. So this is where Community Futures program comes in. And they also do financing. And of course, we don't do financing. We are strictly information service that we give. But again, we will tell you where to go for that financing. So the Community Futures program has a loan program of up to $150,000. So it's a higher level. They also have business consulting services. They do skills training. They do mentoring. They have events where there's ample networking opportunities. So it's a great resource for people in those outlying areas. Other financing programs, like I said, related to export, importing, selling to government, any wage subsidies, tax incentives, anything that the government of Canada or the government of Ontario are doing to service or having programs to help. We know them all, and we can send you the information on all of those. Like I said, the most important thing to go away with today is our phone number, 1-888-576-4444. And again, we're www.feddevontario.gc.ca on the web. The other side for non-rural areas, where you have walk-in and mentoring and so on, and some smaller level financing programs or help with financing programs would be the Ontario government's small business enterprise centers. So again, that's the Ontario government and providing business consulting services. They'll review your business plan, lawyer or accountant referrals and consultations. They'll help you with that. And again, throughout the year, they have many workshops and seminars. Some of these are free, and if not, they're not expensive at all. And really, it's to become part of the community in the area where you're in with other entrepreneurs and business owners. And again, so that leads into the mentoring as well, but the networking opportunities as well. So we have those listed on our website, but of course, for easy access, again, when you do call us, that'll be part of the package, the information package that we send you. Would be the closest SBEC center to where you're located. Startup Canada is another organization, as I said, non-government organization. Again, I think it's funded as well from probably ISED and other government departments. I think they've been around almost 10 years now, and they've done a lot of work. You may have already heard about them. It's a network of entrepreneurs, and they offer advocacy, webinars, mentorship. They do sessions on financial literacy, which is very important, and other training. And they do ongoing events throughout the year. a huge amount of networking, meetups, and they do an annual award ceremony. So every year they go to, they call it their Startup on the Hill. So they do their big annual event in Ottawa, and they have a lot of Government of Canada representatives, ministers, high-level officials that come in and give speeches and keynote addresses and do panel discussions. And of course, also they do funding. So they're a great resource as well. Okay, so that is the bulk of the information that we usually present. Like I said, when you call us, we can give you more specific information as well. We'll include for startups and people expanding or even existing businesses. We'll give them all the information relative to them. For startups, usually too, we provide maybe a lot more as well included on the municipal. So we're government, federal, provincial, really a partnership that we do in Ontario, but we will also send you, especially on things like licensing, when somebody is starting up, if they need anything from the city, from the municipality, we will also send that as well. So that's our main core business. Right now, I'll just go into, and I'm just checking my time. Yeah, 4:07, so we're okay. FedDev Ontario, of course, continues to closely monitor the COVID-19 global challenge and its impact on business and employees, as well as the broader economy. So as you might know already, April 17, 2020, the Prime Minister announced that Canada's 6 regional development agencies, which, FedDev is one of them, is the one for Southern Ontario, we would be delivering a $675 million in financial support to SMEs that were unable to access other federal COVID-19 relief measures previously put in place. So it was called the Regional Relief and Recovery Fund. So right now, the agency, we've gone through, I think that was launched in May. So we have gone through a period of intake for applications. And I know that the agency did go through quite efficiently because of the time-sensitive nature of this funding and this pandemic and what it's meant for business, for everyone, but for businesses as well. And right now, I think we're just finishing off that initial intake. But of course, there are other programs still ongoing. So there's a slide here on RRF eligibility, but I'm thinking that these, I'm not sure if the program had an end date. But if you feel like you want more information, of course, it's on the website and you can always call us to get that. But I'll just go through quickly. It would have had to have been a Canadian or provincially incorporated business in Southern Ontario. It had to have been facing funding pressures with fixed operational costs due to COVID-19. And the businesses would have had to have applied for the other emergency credit relief measures for which they are eligible to make sure that they got everything that they were eligible for there. And then, of course, it had to be a company that was planning to continue operating its business or resume operations at some point after the effects of the pandemic. And then it had to have been a viable business pre-COVID-19, which you can understand. And then this goes through what's eligible, lease payments, operating expenses, utilities, taxes, insurance, rent, etc. And then it also listed what wasn't eligible. So anything that was deemed unreasonable or unrelated, of course, to fixed operating costs, mortgage or loan payments, new capital expenditures or replacement costs, refinancing existing debt, amortization and goodwill, and of course, acquisition of land and buildings. So the priorities within the program were to three strategic sectors that are key to economic recovery in Southern Ontario. So it was manufacturing, technology, and then tourism. Also, any companies that were major employers located in a smaller community, and anything that would support government's commitment to inclusive growth. So, focus on women, Indigenous peoples, youth, persons with disability, visible minorities, newcomers, LGBTQ2 community, and the official languages communities. So again, quickly, there were a number of options, so up to $40,000, conditional repayable contribution, and then it lists the details, and again, that's on the website. And then option 2 was up to $500,000, and again, the conditions that are on the website. And of course, the federal government, of course, has implemented a number of programs and services for Canadian businesses, and they can all be found either on our website as well. I believe we have a link to that. But if you want to go directly to the Government of Canada and all COVID programs and services, you can go to www.canada.ca. Sorry. And that's it. And again, our contact information, please look at our website and see what we have available. Take any information from there that would be useful for you. But then absolutely give us a call at 1-888-576-4444. Thank you.